Hi everybody, Joe Cioffi here on this Monday night. It's just a little bit after 9:20 Eastern Time. Fios One News Long Island and Fios One News New Jersey, and Mr. Rayo will be in shortly here with Fios One News from Fios One News Hudson Valley as a new week gets underway, and we see finally an end to this ridiculous weather that we've had for yesterday and today in particular, not getting out of the 40s again. By the way, I just want to mention, for all the consternation with regards to the month of April and the quote-unquote cold weather, this is the fifth month in the last six that temperatures are going to be below average. But as far as April is concerned, at least from looking at the numbers around in and around the New York City area, we're finishing off about anywhere from 3 to 3.5 degrees below normal. And that doesn't even put us in the top 10. I don't even think it puts us in the top 15 in terms of the coldest Aprils. So a little bit of perspective here, folks. It was a colder than average April, yes. Was it off the wall cold? No. We actually didn't have that many days with temperatures going below freezing, believe it or not. Especially in some of the more urban areas, hardly saw temperatures below freezing at all. So, let's put it in perspective. March was a crazy month. April had its moments as well, but we've been a lot colder than this. So all this silly talk with the year without a summer, the year without a spring, it's really overdone and a bit exaggerated. And I think when Mr. Rayo walks in here, which should be shortly. Oh, there he is. Okay, I just see he's on now, setting the table on his page, so he should be here at any moment. I think Mr. Rayo will probably agree with me on this point. So I hope everybody had a great weekend. I see a number of you getting on board tonight. Joyce Rosselli from Maspeth, Queens, new to the board, I think. Good evening to you. Seeing some of the regular folks on tonight too, which is great. Stephen Franco, always good to see you. Jason Schaefer, always good to see you. Haven't worked with you in a while, Jason, but one of these days we'll figure it out over at the other place. Jared Forbes Dunn, nice to see you here. William Uber, Kimberly Simon Bachimuzzo, nice to see you. Robert Gibbons, Merrill Jean, nice to see you too. Mr. Rayo should be walking in at any moment. We should hear this door slamming at some point, but he'll be here. Okay, so in the meantime, why don't we just kind of get the ball rolling and take a look at what's going on weather-wise tonight, because we just have to get rid of this ridiculous upper low. Here he is. He's coming in now. We have to get rid of this ridiculous upper low that's in the east. I'm trying to get rid of the upper low, Joe. But you can see the rotation on the radar. What's that?
Just below.
Yeah. The rotation on the radar is pretty obvious, that counterclockwise, but it's just about done. It looks like the last band of showers getting ready to wind down, and we should see weather conditions start to improve before too long. Let me bring you up full screen so they know you're here.
I would have thought that we would have been done with it by now. Now we're past 9 o'clock, but
kind of lingering a little bit.
It is lingering a bit longer, and but we should have in the second half of the overnight. What?
It's right there. I'm just trying to do the. There we go. But I can't put my finger in front of it.
What? This?
No. Wait. We can point on a green screen, but we get off. There you go. That.
We're pointing to that.
Right. Yeah.
Oh. Well, can we do it like this?
Yeah, there you go.
Right there. Whatever.
See, I'm not good at that. I have my.
Whatever.
I'm surprised my career lasted as long as it did. I made the point, by the way, before you walked in.
We've had enough of this?
Well, I was looking around. I'm glad it took me like the last 3 days. I've been trying to get into the Weather Service's Climo page to look at some numbers, and that part of the NOAA website's been down.
Really?
Because I wanted to, see where we were as April's coming to an end. So, from the standpoint of temperatures, I looked around, at least the New York City numbers,
right.
The airports and so on. 3 to 3.5 degrees below average. which makes this the 5th month out of the last 6 that we've been below average. But
Right.
all this kind of yelling and screaming, oh, it's the cold of this spring. There is no spring. There'll be no spring. There'll be no summer.
You better watch out, you folks who are talking that way, because we may just,
Really, come on, we need to stop this.
we may jump right into. In fact, we will jump right into summertime. Tomorrow is going to be like the perfect spring day. I mean, the low. Now, people have been. I said tomorrow is going to be the pick of the week, and then people jump on me and they say, "Well, why isn't Wednesday and Thursday you're calling for temperatures in the 80s? Why isn't that pick of the?" But because tomorrow is going to be, we're going to have dew point temperatures in the 30s. We're going to have temperatures
It's
in the
bone dry.
We're going to be in the low and mid 70s. We're going to have lots of sunshine, very few, if any, clouds. Whereas on Wednesday and Thursday, I'm not saying it just.
I don't know the dew points. Wait, let me just. You keep yapping. I'll get
the dew points will probably be in the upper 40s or 50s on Wednesday. I mean, you get that with temperatures in the 80s. If you got that in the summertime, that'd be fantastic. But I'm just saying that tomorrow is going to be the all-purpose perfect weather day. Probably not just for the spring or the summer, but for any day of the year. We're talking about 75,
right.
Bright sunshine, blue sky, few clouds, if any,
yeah.
and it's going to be perfect. You can't improve upon that
unless
you want the warm temperatures.
I'm not going to argue with you. And yeah, Wednesday's dew points are going to be in the mid 40s. With temperatures, I'm just looking at Newark's numbers.
Right, you get
mid 80s with dew points in the mid 40s. That's very comfortable.
You simply don't get that, let's say, in July or August.
No. And I mean, even Thursday, if it gets in the mid 80s, the dew points are going to be generally in the upper 50s.
Right.
That's still reasonably comfortable.
Right.
So
but,
yeah.
There may be a few people on Wednesday and Thursday who say, wish I had the air conditioning put in already, that kind of a day. Tomorrow you're not going to be doing that. Tomorrow it's just going to be walking around. I'm sure a lot of people out there will be having lunch outside, or
Oh, I agree.
It'll be beautiful.
And there won't be much of a sea breeze either along the shore,
right.
Until maybe Long Island always finds a way with the sea breeze, but it might hold off until early or mid afternoon, and you may have to literally be standing right on the beach,
right.
in order to feel it. I don't think it's going to penetrate too far inland. Maybe very late in the afternoon or early evening, it makes it up to Sunrise Highway in parts of Suffolk County. But other than that, the rest of Long Island is going to be fine.
Beautiful day tomorrow.
And even in those shore areas, will probably get into the 70s before any sea breeze comes in. And there really isn't too much going forward. Joe, we'll bring up the. I'll bring the GFS up.
Bob Apple or Appel?
Yes.
Is that how you pronounce it? Appel? It's an Explorer problem on the climate site.
Right.
Uses Google Chrome. They've had a server problem.
Oh, because I was trying to. I finally got in on using Chrome. I don't use Internet Explorer.
Right.
I refuse. But anyhow.
And Mayday planning tomorrow, comrades. Yes.
What was that?
Mayday planning, comrades. It's a big day tomorrow in Russia.
It is. That's right. It's May Day. Okay.
Did you hear the story about Vladimir Putin in Red Square on May Day some years ago? He was standing up before a big crowd, 100,000 people, and he said, during my administration, every person in Russia has washing machine, dryer, and color TV. And way in the back, one arm goes up, and Putin says, step up. He says, what's your name? And the guy says, Levine. He says, what's your question? And he said, I've been living in Russia all of my life, sir. I don't have a washing machine. I don't have a dryer. I don't have a color TV. 1 year later, back in Red Square, 100,000 people, and Putin is giving the same speech. And he says, everybody in Russia has washing machine, dryer, and color TV. And way in the back, somebody raises their hand. He said, what's your name? He said, Goldberg. He says, what's your question? He said, where's Levine?
It's so bad. Oh, God.
All right. Well, anyway.
Hi, Joe. Well, as we look at the pressure gradient on the GFS over the next couple of days with the west or even a west-northwest wind, it will certainly be justification for the fact that the air should be basically dry and warming up. Would you not say so?
I would say so, yes.
And would you not also say, Mr. Rayo, that the approaching cold front for the end of the week will probably hold off until maybe later Friday or Friday night with some showers?
I would say that too.
Isn't it true, Mr. Rayo, that if we bring the front through on Friday, it probably means that we'll have a cooler weekend?
Well, cooler's all relative. I mean, not like cooler like what we had the last couple of days, but cooler in the sense that 80s on Wednesday and Thursday, and 70.
But it is, in fact, will be cooler. Was it not?
Cooler. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just checking.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been watching too much Perry Mason, which I was doing on YouTube.
And who's playing Hamilton Berger in this case? Whatever.
William Talman.
No, but
I want the originals. I don't want.
No, but I mean, among the two of us here, I mean, were you Perry or were you Hamilton?
I guess I was being Perry.
All right.
I always felt sorry for Hamilton Berger, though. But actually, if you think about it, Perry Mason did Hamilton Berger a big favor because he gave him 100% conviction rate because Perry would find the murderer.
Absolutely.
And so the other guy was done.
Absolutely. They were working together.
Of course, clearly. It was all part of the plot.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at the upper area.
It's like we work together.
That's right. So here's your upper low, Joe. It gets kicked out. Big ridge builds in the east. And that holds up to the end of the week. And then we get a nice little trough to come through with a cold front so that next weekend looks pretty quiet. You know what it is? I think this is a time of year where, you and I and people that do what we do, we've been kind of going crazy for usually 2.5 or 3 months, but this one kind of pushed it almost to 4 months. And the next week, next month or so, unless something comes out of the tropics, out of left field, we really have a nice quiet time so we can have a little bit of fun with all this and we don't have to go too crazy.
Well, I'm getting tired. I hope people out there, somebody actually asked me over the weekend, he says, is it, can we finally not have to worry about snow anymore? And at the same time that he was asking me this, I was noticing up in Binghamton that they had snow and sleet coming.
Yeah.
It was
well, they had, in the Catskills today, some folks had a coating to a couple of inches in some of the higher elevations.
Right.
Of course, as soon as it stopped, it's just gone. But now we don't have that to worry about, and we can enjoy some nice weather going forward. I'm just trying to run through. Mike Armando wants to know: are the water temperatures of the Atlantic colder than normal, and are they getting colder in the near future for some reason or another?
Well, it's what 40, 45 now, depending on the sound or the ocean.
I think the ocean water temperatures off the shelf here, just offshore, are actually running colder than normal.
Right.
Go east of the Gulf Stream, I think they're running a little bit above normal, but there is this cold. I've noticed that there is a shelf of below average ocean water temperatures that's running from Nova Scotia to off the New England coast down to the Delaware coast. The last I looked, so they are running a bit cooler. I would think by now we should be up, at least upper 40s to near 50s. So
right.
they're running a bit below. I don't know what's doing that. I don't know if it's some sort of short-term phenomena or some sort of longer-term phenomena. That I couldn't tell you.
But I think honestly that people who have been complaining about the fact that we've had a lack of any really mild weather, be careful what you wish for, because we may very well now go into a prolonged pattern of above normal temperatures. Although I did notice that the Climate Prediction Center has us right on the edge between above normal and near normal for the next 6 to 10 days.
Yeah, the pattern going forward, to me, there's no blocking, so everything's going to be moving along. So I think we'll probably have, kind of swings up and down, warms up. You get a cold front, it cools down, then it warms up again.
Jimmy Zindel says red flag, and if we have a good breeze on Wednesday, we could very well have red flag advisories or red flag warnings going up in our area. Now, all that red over there in Michigan, what would that be translated?
That's all red flag.
Okay, so why not? Why not push it eastward into our area by mid and late? In fact, I even mentioned at the meeting today, our editorial meeting here at FiOS 1, that there may very well be brush fire concerns, maybe Wednesday or Thursday, especially in New Jersey. and maybe in the Hudson Valley.
Well, somebody
as well.
asked me this question because they had the red flag warning up for the southern half of New Jersey today and point southward. Our rainfall is running above average.
Right.
I keep thinking back to years and years ago when they didn't even really put up these red flag warnings up. But the person was asking me, how is it that the ground is so dry when we really had, ample rainfall?
Right.
And, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that this time of year, the sun is very, very strong, so it can dry things out a lot faster than at other times of the year.
I did my first. I used my tractor mower over the weekend, and sometimes in some springs at this time of the year, there are parts of my lawn I cannot do because the ground is just so wet.
Yes.
And I said, okay, I'll have to deal with that when things dry out. Had no problem this past weekend. Saturday is when I did it. And you're probably absolutely right. The sun is way up there now, and with temperatures as warm as they're getting. Although I still am waiting for my first buds on my trees to pop out.
Yeah, everything. At least out by me, everything bloomed this weekend.
Yeah.
Everything, almost everything, not quite everything, but almost everything bloomed quite nicely.
Right.
Timothy Veltman says, amazing to think you can have rain and wet ground, and 3 days later you have high fire danger, not to mention the leaves are all off the trees, so the sun can bake the leaf. Well, you know what? You make a good point, though, Timothy, because there's still a lot of leaves down from the fall that still haven't been cleaned up. So that's an interesting variable that normally in other years might not necessarily be around.
I think I mentioned this before. We have a small red maple in front of our house. Didn't shed all of its leaves or begin shedding leaves until mid-February. Think about that now. Wow. I mean, it was so bitter cold, late December, early January. We had already a couple of big snowfalls. It wasn't until mid-February that we finally began to see. And we were told, I went on the internet, that this was something that sometimes happens with these types of deciduous trees. They said, don't touch the trees. Don't start pulling the leaves off, yourself. Let nature run its course. And now nature has run its course. And I'm hoping now we're going to see some budding in the coming days ahead.
Well, my red maple, which, by the way, when my daughter was about, a few months old, we found this red maple that was about 4 inches tall, growing out of the curb while we were walking her around. And so I pulled it and planted it in our yard, and now it's this full-grown tree. Wow. I mean, it's really quite big. It's almost 30 years old, and it hasn't. I'm still waiting. Still hasn't thrown buds. I really hope it. I just hope that we didn't lose it. I don't think we did. I think it's just it's just late because of what happened back in the fall and the cold that came in so quickly.
Right.
All right. So you know what? There isn't too much happening. I think we could just probably call it a day and come back tomorrow. Does that work for you, Joe?
It works for me. Now we won't have Joe and Joe on Wednesday because you are having another one of your Let's Meet Joe Cioffi days, right? Or
well, yes, that's the plan. Go to. I will be in. Boy, I'm having a moment now. You're driving.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, not you. It's me. It's me. It's just my brain doesn't click in. I will be at the Babylon Library in Babylon.
Okay.
Which is a good place to have the Babylon Library.
Right.
If you're interested in coming, call the Babylon Library or go on my Facebook weather page, and the event should be listed. But let the Babylon Library know, because if they don't get enough people, they may wind up canceling this. So they need to know by tomorrow.
That wouldn't work.
No, we can't. Not for me. In fact,
it's Joe Cioffi, folks, in Babylon.
Yes.
Come on.
So I'll be at the Babylon Library on Wednesday, and that'll be at 7 o'clock Eastern Time.
Joseph Thomas.
Thank you. In fact, you know what? I'm going to find that event link. Let me see. Where is it? Let me find that event link, and I'll put it up here now. When you want something right away, you think you can just know.
while we're doing this, it looks like from this vantage point right now, a pretty nice weekend, right? You would say?
I think so. Yeah. After that front goes through on Friday, it should be fine and dandy. Naturally, is it here? No. Where is it? Oh God, Joe, I'm having a tough day.
All right. Well, if you're in Babylon, go to the library,
right,
and you'll find Mr. Cioffi there on what time?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
2 weeks from today, I will be at the Smithtown Library in
Smithtown.
Which is a good. Also, here it is. Finally, I got it. Okay, so let me put this here on the comments. So if anybody is interested, please contact the library and let them know you are coming, and it'll be great because then they won't. Then they won't cancel it. Okay, but yeah, 2 weeks from today, I'll be at the Smithtown Library, also at 7 o'clock. I need a vacation. I want a vacation.
You're going to get your vacation.
Yeah.
You're going to take
and there's no for other reasons. There may not be a Joe and Joe show on Thursday either.
Possibly.
Okay, but then we'll be back on Friday.
Maybe,
perhaps.
I just sent you a copy of what I sent.
Oh, so.
Well,
we'll talk about it later.
I'm waiting to do my thing.
All right, I got to do my thing. So that's fine. Okay, good.
We got things that are happening.
We got stuff to do, folks. All right, let's leave it there. There's not too much happening. Enjoy the nice weather. We'll see you tomorrow. Joe
Cioffi at
Fios One News Long Island and Fios One News New Jersey,
and Joe Rayo in the Lower Hudson Valley on Fios One as well.
See you tomorrow.
Yes.